Welcome to the Koori Knockout Podcast. We've got a special guest with us this week, Nakia Welsh joining us. We've got Dean Witters on the couch as well. Thank you to everyone who keeps tuning into us week after week. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube, subscribe to our podcast, and you can stay up to date next time the freshest podcast drops, because we've got plenty of Koori Knockout yarns. This podcast is all about Koori Knockout yarns. We talk about the knockout all year round. Can't help ourselves, and I'm glad that we've finally got Nakia on here. I've been trying to get her on here for a little while, actually. She finally twisted her arm and we've got her on. One of the greatest female rugby league players in my opinion, and yeah, really grateful to have you here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. What's
We know we can't shut her up. She can talk, this one, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. I've been there for a while. I was just thinking, like, a lot of her key moments in football, I've been there right beside. Like, I've seen her when she first came into All Stars as a 16-year-old. I was in the camp there when she was there. I remember you talking for the first time. I remember we sat everyone in a circle and you had to talk about who you were, and she talked there, and she stood out to me. I never met her before that. And then obviously seeing her through her NRLW journey, her Gillaroos, playing Origin, it's been fantastic. So glad to have you on here, eh? Have a good yarn about football, because we know you love to talk.
Tell us about your journey anyway.
Yeah, I guess it was just playing backyard footy in Kempsey. Mum and Dad moved us out of Kempsey in Year 6, went to Hunter Sports High School, and then after I finished school, I just packed up and went to Sydney. And then, yeah, just with Redfern basically ever since. So after we played there, we ended up making the representative teams then. So, yeah, that's how I got here.
Unbelievable.
Where did you play your first game of football at? Can you remember your first? Because you were a touch football player.
So the actual, primary school with Kempsey South, but actual against women was at the knockout. I think it was the Bathurst one. So at 14 years of age, I just asked Jazzy, or I think it was Danny Boyalendi, I said, hey, you got any boots? And they've given me boots, and we just ran out in the field. So
who'd you play with?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was like a All Blacks team, like they had the black and red. But actually, I think it was year before, Nulla, Caitlyn and I jumped on bony little things, the jerseys, and that didn't even fit us. And that was at the Central Coast knockout. So what come first, Central Coast or Bathurst?
No, that was the Central Coast was after.
After, yeah. So it was Bathurst and then Central Coast. So we played ever since Bathurst. So we were 14.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, against women. It was fun.
And then you started playing Minda River?
Yeah, Minda, yeah. So Minda was, that was 14, 15, then Minda was 16. And then that's when you picked me up for All Stars at that one. So
How'd they get you into the Minda River team? And can you remember even with you and Caitlyn when you were young, who was it who pulled you into this side out of Bathurst?
It probably would have been Bathurst. They just said, sis, you got any boots? You want to have a run? I said, yeah. And
so just random standing around?
Yeah, I just said, yeah, fine, I'll grab my boots. And then, but for Minda, I think we were playing throughout the year in like Union, and Beck Young said, like, come to Minda. And because I was living in Newcastle, me and Caitlyn were like, yeah, let's go. Because I had a pretty good team, so we knew it would be sweet. So, yeah, started off my career on the wing.
That was a dominant side, Minda, wasn't they?
Yeah.
One of the dominant women's sides in the early days. Who was in that team, do you remember? I mean, like Julie Young, Beck Young, Emma Young.
Yeah, Mahalia Murphy. She was, yeah. Who
How good was Mahalia Murphy?
When she was playing fullback, eh?
Yeah, we had a pretty gun team. That was when, was it Redfern won that though? We didn't win it that year. I think we won it the year after.
Got beat by Redfern.
Yeah, I think it was that.
What was it like at that young age? Because I think the one thing that always stood out for me with the women's comm was the big hits. Yeah. Especially around that time, there was always big contact. How did you go as a 14-year-old kid?
Against Redfern because I seen Chloe Cordwell and I was like, holy, I don't want to get hit by her because she always.
I don't want to get hit by her either.
Swinging arm, so like I just made sure when I scooted it wasn't at her.
I remember a game in Armidale. Chloe Cordwell was playing for Waterloo Storm. And it was the first time I ever seen Chloe Cordwell play football. And she hit a girl. I think the girl was from Tinga, run at her. And she hit her. And there was like the girl didn't move. And it was one of the biggest hits I'd ever seen. But wasn't she a freakish player, Chloe, in those early days of the knockout? She was tougher than, stronger than, just more aggressive than anyone running around in the women's game. And she used to scare the crap out of everyone, eh?
One of the best I've seen, especially in the comps down here. Everyone was scared of her. And she wouldn't even really train. And she'd just come and she just had that mental toughness and she just lasted a whole game. Like, I hadn't seen her before. She's just a freak, like unreal.
Yeah, she's one of my favourite players, without a
Yeah.
doubt. Talking about them early days, what was it like then? So it's not often now that we get to see players that young go into rep systems and that. What was it like going into that All-Stars team as well as a 16-year-old kid representing everyone?
It was scary, but I had Candy Kennedy there too, Bubba's daughter. So it was pretty good. So we had to, we fed off each other. Me and her were both just as scared and shy as each other. But it was all right because I wasn't starting, so I had no pressure. But then I remember our fullback Greenie got injured, and then they reckon, jump on now. And I was like, what? So they chucked me at fullback for a little bit, and I shit myself just until they can figure out the team. And then I got pushed to the wing then. And then, actually after that part, I was sweet. So then ever since then, wing was, my position.
And your little mate was always alongside you there
Yeah,
too?
so she actually come the year after because that year she actually went to, where was it? She went to the Olympics, eh?
Youth
Olympics, yeah. So she played Union, Aussie 7. So Caitlyn actually didn't make it that year, obviously, and then come the year after that. So she went straight into the halves, eh?
Yeah.
She was a freak.
The next year, you just throw her anywhere, Caitlyn, in the football team. But I remember when the next year, because Jazzy came along as well, Jazzy Allende and Jazzy, Nakia, Caitlyn, they'd all jump in the same room. Tanisha Stanton come along.
Libby.
So they grabbed the mattresses out of all their rooms in the motel, and you'd go into one room and there'd be mattresses all over the floors. This is all the girls would sleep in one room like it's a slumber party. I think because Nakia was scared of the dark. And she used to suck her thumb, mate. She used to suck her thumb. She used to sit there and suck her thumb. But it was so much fun coaching them girls in the early days because they just, Caitlyn obviously got her cockiness and her arrogance that she brings, which is excellent for a young kid. She wasn't scared of anyone. No. She marked Ali Briginshaw in the first game, and she standing dancing against Ali Briginshaw and pushing her and shoving her and all this. And it was just great to see a 17-year-old kid come in and do that.
Yeah.
And Kia's confidence just went the next year.
Yeah, well, I think Caitlyn's lifted my confidence. I went to Newcastle, I was so shy, knew no one. And she walked up to me on the first day of school and going, "Hey sis, how you going? I'm Caitlyn." I didn't know her, I've never seen her before in my life. First day, walked straight up to me. So ever since I was with her in Newcastle, she really got me out of my shell that I was in. Yeah.
I think that really opened a lot of doors too. I reckon that's as the women's game was becoming more and more professional. And I reckon you girls were really flying the flag for everyone and really giving us some entertainment too. I think the style of footy that yourself and Caitlyn were playing during that era, unbelievable. Let's talk about that, what was it, 2017?
Is that the All-Stars? Or?
2017, the year where she won.
Year when you've won everything, yeah. And it was a great little team at Redfern coming together. We had the boys team at the same time. They were playing in the Harvey Norman Premiership back then, which had Cronulla was playing in it. They had big clubs playing in that competition at that time. And you won everything there. You won. You didn't win everything. Lavina won everything. Bina won everything that year. But you just lost. There was just the knockout grand final. It was the only thing you lost all year.
Yeah, that was a great year. It was what did we start off with? The All Stars first, hey?
Yeah, won the All Stars, won the Origin, won the World Cup, the test, and then won the knockout as well.
Yeah, so knockout was good for me. That was a big one because it was finally got Dad and Uncle Fred just to focus on the girls' team. They still had a male team, but finally got them just to sit down and watch me for once. It was good to have them two coaching us. Spiel, we didn't win, but other than that, it was a pretty good year for us. I think that was probably the best year for me, I'd say.
Unbelievable.
I remember
even though we got beat in the knockout, still I reckon. Yeah. And
you progressed quickly because you went from, like you said, just being the young girl in the All-Stars to getting your first taste of that sort of football to virtually 12 to 18 months later, still as a young sort of teenager, moving to Sydney, winning a comp down here, playing for New South Wales and then playing for Australia in your Gillaroos. And it was outstanding in the Gillaroos. You come in to replace Sammy Bremner at fullback there and did an amazing job at fullback. What did that feel like wearing that green and gold for the first time?
Oh, yeah, it was so good. They had me in the squad, and then when they announced World Cup, me and Bean, I just couldn't believe it. It was unreal because we had to do one last fitness test before we got picked, and Becca didn't show up that day, but if she did, I guarantee she'd have been in there too. So me and Bina just made it, and it was so good. And Caitlyn, and again I roomed with Caitlyn again in the World Cup, and it was fun. Like it was definitely different. And obviously I went in there as a winger, so I didn't have any expectations. But then when Semi got injured, I was able to give fullback a crack, which was good, because at the time I think that was my favourite position.
Yeah, so, you killed it too.
Yeah. But I was more than happy to play on the wing. But yeah, I was happy that I did get a crack at fullback.
You talked a little bit about your father coaching the team. What sort of influence has he had on your footy?
Yeah, like a massive one. Like I can just remember over the years, like every time around knockout, him and Uncle Fred on the phone, having his pen and paper out. Like I'd actually help him write it. Like, do you know what I mean? I knew all of his team and stuff like that. So it's good. Like since I could walk, like, do you know what I mean? Knockout's been our family. It's been his life. And now mine, like, he's rubbed off on me. Like I'm like that every knockout, like friggin' pen and paper. My mum's like, fuck you so much, like your father. And I'm like full writing my team list down. It's it's scary how much I'm actually like him, but it's good. Love it.
Did you get to see much of his footy?
No, like only, or not professionally, obviously. That was back when my sister was born, but Maxwell Sea Eagles, yeah, I just remember that. Like I loved it. Like we used to run out in the field, like, because they'd win. Like they were such a good team. He was captain coach. And, like, I loved it. We used to, I'd actually, when they'd win, they'd go in, they go in there and sing their team song. I'd stand out near the sheds because I couldn't go in, obviously, because I'm a girl. So I was singing the song while they were in there singing the team song. So I was sitting at the front waiting for him at Maxwell there because I wanted to be part of it. Like, I fucking loved it.
What about... Do you remember the knockout Nambucca days? If Davo still playing with Nambucca?
No, I was too young.
You were too young?
Yeah, but I'm in some of the photos.
Did they talk much about it? Do you hear any of the yarns?
Yeah, they used to. Dad tells us the yarns about their how they went and how they were so good. Like him and Uncle Brett, and yeah, I don't remember much of that because I was a bit younger. But I'd love to get some of those videos. I think Uncle Shane.
There's a video of them.
Videos, he said. So he said he's going to give us a copy.
There's a good video of them playing at Henson Park against Redfern. And it was a comeback from Redfern come back and beat them, and Nambucca had a brilliant team. Like I think they had 12 blokes who played NRL throughout those sides. The Donovans, Timmy and Matty, and Will Robinson was in their side, Brett and Davo, like just Gary Jarrett was in their side. Like they had so many good footballers in that Nambucca side. That's why they were able to dominate for a long time. But obviously with your father being successful with knockout, does he talk to you a lot about how to build a successful knockout team? And what do you think it takes to win the knockout?
Look, I was all for like community. You do have like, do you know what I mean? When I took it back home, but I get that you have to bring other players into the team if you want to win. Do you know what I mean? Like I got a lot of shit for it, putting in my own team. But, like, I had to get some of the outside girls, you know what I mean? Like, because it's not as developed there anymore in the country. Like, the comp's not as strong as here, so, of course, I'm going to bring some of the girls to try and get it, like, to where it is.
I like this. Like, women are going through the same stress that men go through. And you have to go through this, Nakia.
Like, I do agree with him. Like, do you know what I mean? You can have some, but you just can't have them all, unfortunately, because they're not. The comp's not like here in Sydney. It's really, really strong down here.
Yes, so. and they're serious footballers. Yeah. And I was glad, like, out of that Redfern side, and it was Redfern and sort of Newcastle through Minda River that dominated the knockout. Then the Yowies came in when they got a women's side. They were the sort of dominant teams, but it was good that a lot of the girls that played at Redfern did split and go back. You've seen Sharon McGrady be able to get Toomala going, and she's made a big difference to all them young girls up there when they get to play with her. And I think she took Talina back there with her one year. And then you've gone back to Kempsey and started a lot of young girls' football hopes and aspirations in Kempsey. So you all went back and played for your communities. Yeah, because you could have easily just stuck with Redfern and just kept winning, couldn't you?
That's it, though. Then I did say, like, look, I'll go back, and I went home with Simone in that 1 year. Like we said in 2017, got to the final. Unfortunately, didn't win that. We come back again after my second, after Stephen. I had a baby, and then I come back again. We didn't win that one. We got beat by Wello in the grand final by 2 points. But we made the final again.
That was a good game.
And again, it was mostly Kempsey girls, but we've got a bit other. Like I got a few outsiders. And then we finally got the win after my second child, Nevaeh, when we won that one at South Coast. And that was unreal. Like, not even fit. Simone and I both. And to get that win was a long time coming, but we finally got it. So I was so happy.
So how many knockout wins you got under your belt now?
Oh, I don't even know. Because I won one for Minda, a few for Redfern, and then one for Kempsey. So hopefully we'll take it out this year too.
Hey.
Prediction
We were
early
talking
there.
a little bit before about the passion that the men's teams have for their team. How is that in the women's comp? Because I know that in the women's comp you don't have the luxury of being able to pick your home team to play for every year. You know, you started off in Minda, you've played with Redfern, you played with a lot of different teams. How is that same passion across the women's comp?
I think for me, like, Redfern is home. So, like, that is a passion for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, the teams that I've gone to, I've had that connection. Like, Minda, I used to live there in Newcastle, and, like, Beck Young, and that did a lot for me at the time. So really grateful for them. So I showed that by playing with them. Redfern, like I said, lived here now. Like, I love it. All them girls are, like, my second family. And then obviously going back to Kempsey. And then Yowies, actually went there one year because I was really close with Leetta Porter. Loved her. So she also helped me and Caitlyn out a lot when we were in Newcastle too. So that's how I, gave them, But for other people, I couldn't tell you. But for me, that's.
Is it easy to have a hatred for another team?
Oh, I don't really have one, not for the knockout. The only team I hate is Queensland. But yeah, other than that, I've never actually had that hate, like the only team was when we were playing Origin. I couldn't stand Queensland at the time. So yeah, that's probably the closest I've come to hatred.
We got to get some rivalries in this women's comp. We're going to see, talk
I heard War and Wack are both stacked, so...
Everyone's got to hate Wack. You can see they get... So maybe the Wack women's team might be the team that everyone turns on. To the War team.
I'm excited for it, though, because like you said, there's so many other teams that are starting to pop up, and they're getting... I really liked when Blacktown Red Belly Warriors came on the scene, because there was this other team now that was creeping in again, and then there's more and more teams that are coming each year.
They gave us a run for our money that year that we won it. So what was it? One of the round games, I think it was like second or first game. First game, we were just lucky that it was the first game, and we were just all ready to rip in, and we got the win over them. So that was
Paulie Bent's been building that up nicely out there, but and I think there might be some changes in the women's this year with a lot of them going to war. But I was just out at Lightning Ridge there on the weekend, and I'm telling you, the Far West and Dubbo, there's a lot of talented young girls out there. And as they start to build their teams up, you're going to see some real competitive sides in those little communities out west. Because, geez, there's some talented football players. I couldn't get over the talent that I saw in those games out there.
While we're on that point, Dano, tell us a little bit about what you actually did on the weekend.
Yes, I went out to the Outback and went to Lightning Ridge, my first ever time to Lightning Ridge. And they had an Outback team there that I coached, which is, they're sort of like their New South Wales Outback rep team. And they come from Barellan, which is down in the south of the state, right down near the Riverina. So there's boys from that competition, joined with the boys from the Wilkenya and Menindee and that area. And then obviously Walgett, Burke, Bree and Gadooga's got a little competition there that they play in as well, the Bow and Darling.
Bree actually won that last weekend?
Yes, Bree won it a couple of weeks ago. So they were celebrating the grand final, and a few of their boys then got picked in the rep team. And then we had a few Castlereagh players as well from Coonabarabra, and I think there's one or two boys from there. So they picked this Far West rep side, and they played the Hastings League, Port Macquarie competition. And geez, it was a good game, but just great communities out there that love their football, passionate about the game, and just seeing what it means to those communities out there. They love their football. They don't get a lot of opportunities to play a lot of games, those communities out there. But geez, the passion's there. And look at the outstanding players as as I talked to, because Ducky was out there, talking to Ducky for ages out there, and Charlie Mack was there. Yeah. So you look at the local heroes, then you got the Ricky Warfords, the George Roses, the Ronnie Gibbs, the people at Jeff Hardy's, the people at all those communities, they brag about and they're so proud about the Mason boys from Gadooga. Like, everyone was talking the old footy yarns to me out there, and geez, I loved it. And that talent's still out there. We just got to find ways to give them opportunities to play those communities. And the same down south in Narrandera. There's a lot of good footballers down Narrandera way and in that Wagga Griffith area. So it was good to see all these black fellas there. But the girls, I'm telling you, the girls are coming through from those communities. They can talent it.
Yeah, I saw the game. It looked quite good too. I think Big Rika had a good game playing it off.
She carved up, and she's doing a lot of mentoring out there, and I got to give it to her. She's come a long way, that girl. She talked about she's a little yarn. She said, and she won't mind me telling this because she told everyone out there. She was at South when I was coaching at South, and she said, "Oh, Dean was the first coach that made me cry. He sat me down and made me cry, and I felt that bad." I was like, "Oh shit."
What'd you do to her?
No, I had to give her a good stern talking to her. She was partying too much and she missed training, and I sat her down. I said, "You didn't come all the way from Gaduga to do this." I said, "You got your family back home with, looking up to you and stuff like that." I said, "How would they feel knowing that you're just down here partying and drinking and not caring about your football?" So I made her cry. She said, but she said it was a good lesson for her, and she's doing amazing things out there in the far west now, promoting health and stuff like that. And I love it that there's a lot of girls now that of that era of when Nakia and that come back. And I know Nakia has done this as a mentor to my daughter, and they all look up to her so much. But that opportunity for you now to, as mentors, to make a difference. And Rika's doing that, and Nakia's doing that, and I know Bina does a lot of stuff in Redfern. Like, there's a fair few of you, Jazzy, doing a lot of things like that. Give them back to the young ones.
Yeah, that's something I'm hopefully touching on after my career. But a big one.
Well, you're doing it now.
Yeah, that's
doing
what
it
I'm
now.
saying. Hopefully, I can do it more. But yeah, definitely. That's why we're actually going back to Redfern because all the young girls are coming through. Like Lara, and then one of the young ones I'm mostly excited about this year is Mika and Logan. Like, played comp with them at the start of the year to get myself fitter, hopefully getting that NRLW contract, and I was able to play with Mika and far out. She's going to be something. And also watching Bessie, Combo and Evie, help coach the Nations of Origins last month, and they're two young girls that I'm mostly excited about. Like, I can't wait till they come up and play knockout. They're going to kill it. Because
they do. The young ones, and I know Yalara's done it for a long time with Nakia's, they've really looked up to them, and follow everywhere, and look to them for advice on stuff like that. So it's great that you come in as a young girl, but now you're the mentor. You've come the full round, and as you said, coaching those girls in the Nations was really special for you.
Yeah, that was.
That's why I love seeing too our Aboriginal players who have come through that everybody knows, and they watch their journey and you follow their journey and you do inspire people. There's so many people that are inspiring people because you've come through as a young player. How is it for you now on the journey that you've been on, going from being that young star to now being the senior mentor, and you've still got a lot of time left in your career?
Yeah, no, it's funny actually. I we went to Canberra on the weekend, and I was roomed up with one of the young girls, and and she just reminded me of how much how I used to go on, and I felt so old. Hey, I was watching.
So old.
I put on the TV watching the Olympics, and she goes, "Ugh, what are you watching the Olympics for?" She goes, "You're old." I said, "Shut up!" And then she cracks open a bag of lollies and put the V, and I was like, "Oh God!" This used to be me and Caitlyn, you know what I mean? Staying up late, talking shit, and then just yarning, and then we'd go to sleep, sleep in. I was like, this is me all over, and I really felt my age. I was far out, it's crazy, but it's good. I think they stitched me up with that room situation. But no, it's it definitely made me realise, I am getting old. Because like I said, normally I'd be up, do you know what I mean? But I just wanted to go to bed. I didn't have no kids. So I was alarm on, for 8 o'clock. I was hoping I'd get a good sleep in. But no, she had me up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I could have killed her.
Well, late nights, early mornings, that's rough. Yeah. That's rough.
I said,
especially when you're a mum.
I said, lucky I thought I left my kids at home.
We are proud of you, though, for making that, making your debut again for the Cronulla Sharks in the NRLW. A huge achievement for you. This is the thing that spins me out too with the women's comp. You're at the top of the game. You've had 2 kids, 2 beautiful kids. Congratulations to you and Peebo again. And now you're back at the top. How hard was it for you to go through that process? Because I'm assuming that there's a lot of young mums that might be tuning in to know that journey for you to be able to get back on top again where you're at.
Well, look, it was really hard. I struggled, to be honest. After Stephen, it's not as easy, especially if you don't know what to do, what to eat. Do you know what I mean? We got taught, we grew up on just everyone having soup or everyone having hot dogs and then we got into these elite camps back in the day, and they was talking about meal preps. I was like, I don't meal prep. Like, I just get what I've been given by my parents. Like, so back then it was really hard around that cultural barrier that they don't see what we had to like go through. And I guess just the knowledge, like we didn't know. We didn't even do weights. Like, we never lifted a weight. Like, we just played.
Yeah.
We just rocked up to tournaments and just chucked on any boots and would have a run. So, yeah, so it was hard. Better now, obviously, second time around with like my second child. I kind of gotten a bit better with my training, my eating, the discipline. It took me a while. I went to Eels, and I wasn't as fit or strong, but I just ripped in and worked hard for that new contract, which I got. But that come off the back of a good pre-season. I had to make sacrifices. Like, I didn't go back home at all this year, so it's been really tough.
Yeah.
And just ripped in all year, and then I got the reward. So it was tough, but yeah, like I didn't even go home the other weekend for my brother's birthday. So for me, I've had to make a lot of sacrifices this year, but it paid off. Like, I'm starting now, so can't complain.
And a try on debut.
Yeah, so yeah, that was even better.
Yeah, it was unreal.
To get the win as well. So.
And then, so how do you balance now with your training and the two young kids? Yeah,
it's pretty challenging, but lucky for me, like, we've got a good support system here in Sydney. My parents live here, so like, I'm like, it's in the afternoon. If Peeb's got a 12-hour shift, like, mum and dad will pick him up, or his mum, and then he'll come and grab him later. Or if it's a night shift, like tonight, someone will get him. I'll go to training, drive back at 8, got to go pick him up, and then I'll take him home.
A lot to be organised, and a lot to think about.
So like,
I loved it last year when you had a lot of yarns about coming to Para and getting her back at that stage, just to see what it was all about. And I think I could see the confidence with you. You're like, you know what, I can do this. Like, it's just giving her that belief back in herself that it's not far off you. You know, you got to and just take baby steps, getting yourself back going, and you're on your way. And the kids are growing up now, so they'll be able to support you more and make you feel more comfortable. But you know, she would bring the kids to training sometimes to go to away trips. And I
took Stephen to Canberra.
Had to get out of Canberra. So it's like, that's a different aspect to the football, which I never experienced before, but it was great to see it. And I know that there's a lot of mums inspired by it. So there's a different part of your journey that you're going on. But you did mention your brother there.
Yeah.
And I know it's always a hard one for you to talk about, but I remember when I first met you, that was the driving thing behind you, was you're at All-Stars camp and you spoke passionately about your brother, about, you know, he didn't get that chance, and you were proud to take it for the family. And it means a lot to your family, because your brother was a talented footballer.
Yeah, that's why I really want to do it. That's my passion, so I'm doing the things that I know that he would have done if he was here. So that's my main drive, and that's my main why for my career.
A lot of Kempsey boys talk about him as though, I know, like Kieran and that tell me a lot, they just reckon he was a freak, And
for a 15-year-old.
Yeah. What type of player was he? Is like you? They reckon you're
like
the girl version of him.
No, just he was my dad all over. Him and Brandy and Dad, they all play similar. I like tuck the ball under and run. Like, I think I'm a outside back, but I try and run like a prop. Like, but they're like crazy freakish players with their like skills. Like, if you've watched them three play, it's kind of different style to how I play. Yeah. And
you think about him a lot when you're making these big moments?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, always. Every time I play, I have his name written on my wrist.
I love that.
Every single game.
I love that about her journey, because she sat in the All-Stars room at 16 and she got emotional talking about how much it meant for her to be at this All-Stars because of her brother. So you still carry that inspiration. I love it. And you achieved a lot for him. So you've certainly done him proud, you know. It's good.
No, it's been a great journey. I want to talk a little bit more too about who's the current crop of young stars coming through now. You know, we talked about that young talent there now. Who's the young female talent coming through in the game that you get to see?
I think for me, well, she's not young now, but I think Quincy Dodd's, like, for the NRLW, Quincy Dodd's just playing unreal footy. Like, she's a young one who didn't get to make it, like, back when I did, so she was always, like, the 18th man. And I just think she's just killing it now. Like, she's playing some unreal footy. She's going
to the next level, eh?
Yeah. Like, but as for the young ones that are up and coming, I definitely reckon, like I said, Meekwin Logan, Evie Phillips and Bessie Combo, like, they're the next gen that I'm mostly excited to watch. 100%.
seen them play at the Australian Championships, Australian Schools Championship. They're both dominant players there, Evie, solid as, and Bessie making big breaks off the kickoff.
But she's even younger, so she's not even touched Gale yet. So like she'll be only Lisa Fiola. So that's scary but exciting for her. Like just wait till she gets the crack.
It's exciting for us too to know that there's so much talent coming through.
And they're forwards too, which is good for our
even
All-Stars
better.
team.
Yeah, that's so true because
always need the forwards.
Because I remember, again, when youths were coming through, there weren't as many coming through, weren't as many opportunities. And I was telling my kids the other day, we were watching the NRLW and you were playing, I said, you know, Nakia was the first player signed by the Roosters when they come into the NRL. You're going to be the number one number one Rooster.
Yeah.
And then your journey from there, again, has changed since then. But to see you back at the top, we're all pumped. Who were some of your inspirations when you were coming through? Who did you sort of mould your game around? Who did you watch? Who inspired you?
Yeah, I think I watched, mostly it was my brother and my father. Definitely those two. But for the women, it was the All-Stars. Like, watching Bina and that, like, I remember, so the year after my brother passed away, we went there because obviously it was the Maoris versus the Koori game and he was supposed to play there. So we went and then I just watched him and I just literally said to my mum, I'm going to be here in like 2 years because I think I was 13 at the time. So I did say I was going to be here in 2-3 years' time and I actually got that. So I was literally watching that All-Stars game at, I think it was Suncorp up there. So we made the trip up there and it was, watching them girls like Lavina Phillips.
Yeah.
Freak. Like it would be probably 2010.
Yeah.
And I would have been, 13, 14, and that's what I said, I'll be here in 2 more years. And,
worked out for you.
That's unbelievable.
Some of the early names are, and I know you talked about Greenie. I remember Greenie was a big player in that side. Yeah.
Therese Anderson. B, Caitlyn Moss.
Remember Caitlyn Moss, how tough she was at the knockouts. Yeah. One of the toughest players I've coached, her and Chloe.
Tracker, Jenny Sue.
Ash Singleton back in the days.
Yeah.
Good bunch of girls. They were girls. It probably paved the way for this next generation, you know. Like Julie Young was an amazing athlete and fitness freak, and she'd lead all the girls in training.
She did. She used to flog us at Newcastle. She would make us run. Oh my God.
She'd finish the fitness test and then she'll keep running around and like if we did a 4-lap 4 and 5 challenge, she'd finish, but then she'd keep running around and run with all the rest of the girls to do it. She was that fit, Jules, and like a little bit maybe ADHD or something like that, but she'd just keep training and running, and she at the end of training she's running around the oval picking everything up, but she was an amazing player, Julie. Mahalia in her first stint, and how good is it to see Mahalia back and captain of the Eels?
Yeah, I know.
She's doing so well, and but when she first came onto that scene, she scored 3 tries on debut for the Gillaroos. Was outstanding. We'd never seen her play like that.
Simone Smith, she was a freak.
Yeah, unbelievable.
We've got to talk about Simone, particularly from Kempsey.
One of the best women's players I've seen in my life.
One of the best players.
So other than Lavina, for me, Lavina and Becca,
I reckon the best try I've seen in women's game, and it still is a try at the All-Stars. And I think the ball goes from Lavina, Damiashi throws a long cut out to Simone. Simone throws his cut out to Bo Dela Cruz, and then Bo hits this pass that I've never seen in women's football on the fly and hits Caitlyn Moore, and Caitlyn just catches and flicks it to our winger. I can't remember, Savannah Connors maybe on the wing, and she scores in the corner up in Newcastle when you beat the Gillaroos up there. And I was like, I've never seen skill like that.
That's
Simone,
a decent shift though. Look
at the players there we just named. It's probably the most talented passers of the football there, Lavina, Simone, Bo, and then Caitlyn. You know, you put a football in them 4 girls' hands, touch football, whatever it is. I don't care. They'll destroy it everywhere. But that was a real special moment, seeing Simone and Bo and throwing passes to these young girls. Oh, it was incredible team to be part of.
I think that was probably one of the best games of my career, like career highlight for sure. Like that 2017 All-Stars and finally beating them after we got slapped every year. That That was massive.
Yeah, but you've got to acknowledge that was the actual Gillaroos team though.
Yeah.
That they were playing, right? This is the rep team that they picked to represent Australia against every other country.
They were undefeated.
And beat them.
Oh, that was crazy.
They hadn't been beaten by anyone, and
New Zealand, no one.
No one could beat that Australian team. And then we got these girls together, and there's Candy, Caitlyn, Nakia, Jazzy. They were all kids, and they come into this team, Tanisha, all like that, and they all started training hard and realising that if we work hard, we'll get there. Lavina, and it was awesome. And then Bo come in as an older player who these girls had all looked up to, and she just had that confidence and arrogance as Bo's got. She'll take on anyone and she'll challenge them all, and she give these confidence to these young girls. And then Simone come there, and one of the most talented football teams I've coached, like men or women, and just tying them all together and get you hungry.
Well, I have to get the replay of that.
Yeah, because they were outstanding, and they stood over all these big names in the game, and that's when they all started getting recognised off the back of that. That's when Nakia and Lavina and Caitlyn all that started doing their Australian jerseys off the back of that. You beat them.
Caitlyn got picked. I think she's already in it, but yeah, definitely for Lavina and I, we got chucked in the squad. So for us, it was massive. Yeah.
How'd you go with that? Because you had a touch footy career first off, right? How'd you go with the transition from touch to? Well, I guess
because I always played league at home. I'd always play with my brothers and that, so I was always rough. So yeah, Dad said I'd always try and play with him and his mates at the park. So for me, it wasn't really. It was just, it wasn't really much of a change. But touch does mean Caitlyn's we loved it. Mate, every year we had little tricky moves at touch tournaments. We'd always go away. We played reps together. CHS, it was good. We've already had that combo, so then we just took it into league. Yeah. So for us, it was just playing touch. She'd always give me them inside balls or a flick pass, and I just popped up for her and Jazzy because we all come from a touch background. So literally for us, it was just playing touch.
If you can't get touch, you can't get tackled.
Yeah, and back then I couldn't. So
speed the bird.
Yeah. No.
What do you think now going forward? Knockout for country girls. 'Cause I still think we haven't seen the country emerge yet. They're still sort of juggling league tag and football in the bush.
It's so hard. We just need more competitions. I do like how they've changed the nationals now, and it's actually country, because they were picking us city country fellas, and then the country girl didn't get a crack. So I do like the way that's changed. How New South Wales Rugby League had changed that. I'm actually happier because then they do get a crack now. Because like I said before, it was all of us getting picked, but we're playing week in, week out down here, and I just didn't think that was fair. So I'm glad they did change that.
Because the Kempsey girls, I know up in Group 19, they're still playing league tag a lot, and I know a lot of them, they want to play tackle, but there's not enough competitions. I even think in that Northern Rivers, they're playing it. Out west, I'm not sure that they only play league every now and then. It's short comp. So, but do the girls talk to you a lot about it when you go back to Kempsey about opportunities to play?
Nah, one of the young ones was Cheyenne Baker, and actually she's another one who I'm excited to watch. She's in the Tigers at the moment, so excited for her. Hopefully she'll get a development contract with them in the next year or two, because she's going to be a freak. But she was one who actually didn't get anything, went home, and then I said, "Sis, what are you doing? Come back." Because that's what she said, there's nothing here for me. So we ended up getting her back, got her onto a manager who's got it in the Tigers. So we both have the same fella, and he got us an NRL, or got me an NRL and got her a Harvey Norman contract. So, definitely getting them down here, because there's no competition, and they're not going to be, unfortunately, they're not going to be seen in the country.
It was really good last year when New South Wales Rugby League ran the what's it called, the Harmony Cup down at Wollongong. And the last couple of years, we've been able to get all those young girls from Cabo, from Lismore, to come down. Their communities raised money or whatever they've done up there to get them to drive all the way from Lismore and Ballina to come all the way to Wollongong to play in the Harmony Cup. And you see them come down, and they're outstanding players. And that's where Cheyenne come down as part of that team when they first started. And and young Alara Roberts, those girls that we've seen them all come through the system. Phoenix Hippi was one that stood out in the knockout in that Cabo side. We've got to give them girls opportunities to play, and unfortunately, there's not a whole heap of pathways there, and they do have to make the move. But there's a group down here like yourself that look after them, when they come down.
Yeah, definitely. There's a young one, Roberts Hickling one, that she's actually come to the Blacks with us, and we've all taken her under our wing. But definitely those girls are yeah, they're going to be good. Like you said, it's just to get them down here.
Got to get
Because it's
down.
once there's nowhere to stay for them. Like we need a hostel or something, like for them young ones from the country to be able to come here and stay. Like I know we got Kirinari and some of the stuff for the fellas, but we need a female hostel.
By
All the
Ella
country
over there,
girls. Yeah, Manly.
But that's a long way.
Yeah,
though,
I know we need one here in the city.
Get them in
That'd
that
be-
community.
Yeah.
What were the
Yeah.
things that, remember helped you when you first come to Sydney? Because you seem very comfortable in Sydney now.
That's what I said to these young ones. It was definitely like having that support. Like I had Bina. Like I lived at her house basically. If not Jazzy, like I lived there too. Like I had those girls where I could go and stay at their house. Whereas now it's a bit harder. Like for me, I got like a young family. Do you know what I mean? It's harder for me to like say to my cousin, "Hey, come stay at home." Like it's so hard. Whereas I was lucky before I had Jazzy, who didn't have any kids or a family. It was just her with her mum, and her mum's like taking me under her wing. Hey, and,
A lot of families there.
Let me
It
live
certainly
here.
wouldn't help
So
you,
yeah. But for me back then, that was definitely if I didn't have that, I'd definitely have gone back to Newcastle or Kempsey. So
Yeah, it's a shame that our country comps are not as strong as they once were.
Well, they're struggling in the men's up there, and I think the league tag sort of invigorated the comps in a lot of the country areas. So they stick with the league tag because it brings a lot of girls in who attract, a lot of boys to come and play, or their families and stuff come along. So they don't want to let the league tag go. But there are a lot of girls, particularly the Indigenous girls in those areas, that are dying for tackle competitions, and they don't get as long. But I know there's a lot of work being done, but you do need to see more of them coming down and getting the crack in the Tarsha Gale and those sort of competitions.
yeah, that'd be good to see. What about the Indigenous Academy?
Yeah.
Maybe getting that separated, and then you can get those girls to come. Do you know what I mean? Like if Roosters say that, and then we get that would be like I'd love to see that, and then we can actually get them girls in that team, and then like I don't know, not house them, but just keep them down here for a little bit, and then get their flights, because I know a lot of teams do fly players down, so getting those ones down, like that'd be amazing.
Need to get our girls noticed, because there was. I watched the young girls last year in the final, and this Cabo team for a couple of years. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent out there in the bush for our girls, and need to get them noticed. Need to get these NRLW talent scouts out there and watching and signing up some of our girls, because there's some of them that will come through and kill it.
What are the processes that exist now for a young girl who can play footy, who is aspiring to play in the NRLW? What does she do?
Well, I know that the First Nations Gems is what you're talking about, and with the countryside that plays in the national champs. So the national championships is sort of there for girls who don't play in the elite Harvey Norman competitions or Tarsha Gale. So they want to try and put them through the nationals, and we got a First Nations Gems team there that gives a lot of girls from those rural and remote communities a chance to be noticed. So there are scouts at those tournaments that watch a lot. The NRLW clubs and some of the NRL clubs now with their Harvey Norman, their Tarsha Gale teams, which is the under-19s for the girls, they're out there trying to scout our girls. So we've got to keep, stay in touch with the people who are signing those girls and keep recommending our good players through. We've got pretty high numbers, though, in the girls. Like the NRLW last year had something like 40 Indigenous girls across the teams. There's high numbers across the clubs. I think the Cowboys have got 12, Parramatta, we had a lot last year. So there's a lot of girls at all the clubs. Newcastle's got a few. So we got a lot at that high level. But we just got to keep making sure that the pathway's there for these country girls. The city girls have got a pretty good pathway. They got access to all the teams, but it's the country ones that we've got to try and get the opportunities to.
Yeah.
And I know Kia's been passionate about, because Kia, even when we first started that Indigenous Academy back in the days at the Roosters, which was a long time ago, Nakia was coming along to them training sessions. Then when you're pregnant or just had a baby,
like my sister was playing, so
because Brandy was there, but she's always been someone to put her hand up to come and help out with the teams and coach and be at training and talk to the young girls. Even when you're only just a young girl sort of yourself, you've always given back. So I think, as your father, as a sort of like a coach and a mentor and stuff like that, organiser, I think you're going to follow those footsteps as well when you do decide to finish playing.
Yeah, that's definitely something.
No, it's definitely rubbed off, eh? Let's talk about some of your favourite knockout memories of all time. What's your favourite knockout memory, you reckon?
Probably just winning it back to back with Redfern. Like that was mad. Like I think, and then branching away from them to start up my own team what we already touched on a bit earlier. Definitely, I know, like I said, we didn't get the win, but 2017, yeah, that'd have to be my favourite. But even though we lost, I think just going out on my own, starting that new team with my family was a big thing.
And he's went close, eh?
Yeah, very close.
Went close. He was close to beating Redfern in that.
Yeah.
And that Redfern
was a good
team,
one.
that was that 3 in a row for Redfern, wasn't it? Or,
I think, it would have been 3 in a row, close to 4, I think. Cause
they might have got 4 in a row.
Dabo, and then we won it again, and then that's when I branched out because they went back again to Leichhardt. So, yeah.
What was that question you used to ask about who you'd bring to who's your players you'd pick in your team?
Yeah, if you had to pick 3 players to take to your knockout that would give you confidence, who's the 3 women's players that you'd make sure that you got them in your team?
Definitely Becca and Bina.
Tell us about Becca because we haven't spoken about her. Rebecca Riley.
She's just if you talk about the knockout, like Becca Riley, like she's it. Like she's someone who can win it. Like, and I've seen it. She's done it against me. Like like I said, Wello, like Bina, Rebecca, and Letitia Boney. Like
that's your 3.
Yeah, like they just know how to win a knockout. So
Bina, talk about Bina because you played
different players there too.
You played a lot with Bina.
Yeah,
Talk about her as a player.
She just knows. Like she just sees. Like all of them actually, especially Rebecca Riley. Like eyes up footy. Like and that's knockout. Do you know what I mean? Backyard footy. That's just they can just see it. Like Rebecca, I know she got me. Like she just caught me standing on this side. She's just dummied Letitia Boney under, and they've scored on this side. Like. And that's how they got me in that 2019 knockout. We won the grand final against Wello and they beat us from that try. And then last year with Rams, again, Rebecca Riley, like we versus Redfern. We were played on a Friday night, by the way, which I did not like. Semi-final, we were all busted.
Are you sending a message to Georgie?
Yeah, so I don't want to play on a Friday night. If it's semi-finals, I want it to be Monday on the main field.
Okay.
Oh, see, put the foot down here.
What about Sunday?
No, I don't mind Sunday. Yeah. Then that one will go out then, so that's good. So that again for Redfern, like I think it was a pretty tight game, and again I've just defended at fullback on the other side of the ruck, and Rebecca's literally dummied, hits and scored on this side because I think held up about 4 or 5 tries on that line D, and then. Because I was passionate, like it was my nan's team, so I was like real emotional, like playing my hardest. And then Rebecca's got me again, like she just knockout footy, like
And she's tough as nails too.
Yeah,
can tackle her.
Yeah.
For a little girl, she's tough as nails.
Yeah,
Becca.
and she's making a comeback this year. This is probably the fittest I've seen her and Kyla Gordon, and I'm so excited for this knockout this year with Redfern.
So Redfern's a big favourite, say by the sounds of this.
I hope so.
Because they're going to be good
I heard
teams.
Warriors and Whack, but that's right.
Bina, you touched on Bina, and we've seen Bina come up with the biggest moments in every big game.
Yeah, I think she's just a smart player. Like, she's just, doesn't matter her age, like, she'll just pull out something when we need it the most, you know what I mean? Whether it's a rake, whether it's a 40-20, like, just something like that repeats it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, she's just that
knows
player.
what to do at the right time.
Yeah.
And then Tisha was another young one coming through. Talk about Tisha because she's out of Dubbo there.
Yeah, she's just so tough. Like, she's tough as nails. Like, so hard to get down. Like, and especially near that line.
Carrier.
Like, you're not going to stop her, like, running over that line. Like, 5 out. There's no way.
Powerful forward, eh?
Yeah.
Runs a great
Dominant
line.
player. I remember seeing her when first time I seen her play was at the Murray Carnival, and geez, she was just scoring tries everywhere. She was fast and strong and just keep turning up. She knew how to play football, and you wonder where, she's out of Dubbo. There wouldn't have been a lot of football for her, but she was definitely one of the standouts in those early days, Tisha. Yeah.
Definitely. So probably have to be those 3.
Those 3.
I'll tell you what, you picked 3 great players there, and I'm sure they'd all put you in their selections too.
I hope so.
What can we expect from you this year's knockout? What are you thinking? The women's comp, this year's knockout, what's the buzz? How are you feeling?
I was just about to ask you that question. So what fields are we going to be played at? Because I know this last year we didn't like it, like no main games, like, do you know what I mean? Like for us, like we just said, we're trying to get noticed, and like for the country girls, this is their only chance to get a crack. So we get to the knockout to be played on backfield with no coverage. Like, I just think, come on, like Are you going to give us a live game or what?
No, I feel you. I feel you on that one.
Especially for the country. I don't even care about me. Like, it's more, like you said, those Hickling girls up the coast, like Roberts, like, give them a crack. Put Lismore on that main field. Do you know what I mean? Tinga. Like, chuck all them teams, Moree, even if they have a team, like, put them on the main field to get some live coverage.
And you do have to argue that the knockout has always opened the doors, especially for the women's game, I reckon.
Yeah.
It's always been the way for girls to get their opportunity. So,
in a way, All Stars led the way for women's football to be shown on. Because there was the only time you'd see the women on TV was at the All Stars, and on the big occasion was at All Stars. I think the All Stars led to the growth for the Gillaroos and the Origin and all that sort of stuff. Because before All Stars, I never heard of the women's game, and first time seeing the girls was my first ever interest in it at that level. So it led the way. But you keep advocating, keep fighting. Who's going to be some of the good sides? What are you hearing?
No, so not much at all. I only just wore my sister's there, so she's going to represent my mum's mob for Radri. So that'll be a good one. And then Wake, I heard you're pretty good, and So,
Yowies, Caitlyn talking up Yowies?
No, nothing yet. Nothing.
They're the defending champs. The Yowies
but may have to hit her up and suss out who's in her team.
They're the defending champs.
But normally, they're always a tough one.
Yeah, I like that the talent's a little bit spread too. It's been spreading more and more because for a long time there was two teams that had met in the final, and that were the two teams. But now I feel like there's a few teams there ready to shake it up, and I'm glad that WAC's got a team in this year too. We don't always get a women's team in, but I think we've always competed pretty well every time we have. So we'll have a crack.
Yeah,
we'll have a crack. Trenny's organising them. So
I was talking to him last week about it.
Was he talking it up?
But you look at the likes of the players. Like we've seen Quincy Dodd, Jamie Chapman play at also Shaylee Bent. Fui Maono, like some of the best players in the world. Tanika Torana, Mahalia, Nakia, like. These girls are so proud to go back and play in the knockout. And over the last couple of years, if they're not in the grand final, they're all getting out to the knockout and play, and you can see some of the real stars. And I love it that they got that passion, the girls, to go and play. And I can't wait for this year's. From what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I've heard there's a few NRLW players that are going to try and get back, and like more than there's ever been. So I'm hoping that we make the finals, but if not, definitely we'll be out there.
Yeah.
Well, from our point of view, I hope that there is a lot more because I think one of the things with the men's comp is that when you get country boys playing up against an NRL player, they get the chance to show how good they are.
Yeah.
And so I reckon we've got a couple of girls there that have not been seen at the level that they deserve to be seen.
Yeah.
But we get them up against a couple of these NRL girls.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for, that live
Samantha
coverage
Sharpley be
too.
chopping them in half.
That'd be great.
We'll have a few there.
Can you promise her that there'll be a couple of women's games on?
She's pushing that.
Is NITV going to cover this or what?
Going to talk to NITV. Tell them.
Yeah.
No,
I think we've got to push.
We really do want to, absolutely. Okay. And at the bare minimum, we'll make sure that there's coverage taken of different games. Yeah, we'll get different coverage. Yeah.
And the kids too? No, because that was a big thing, like that knockout. Like, say if there was like grandparents back home in Kempsey, do you know what I mean? Like if my nephew played, if they didn't get to make that knockout, like how else would they have watched him? And obviously if it's one and done, like that's it. And it's their first knockout for some of these young players. And then if you get knocked out, you're done. So it's like, there was... Yeah.
No, I get that absolutely, and I think there's a whole nother conversation to have about the growth of the women's knockout and the junior knockouts. I mean, the 17s and 15s, they filled up quicker than anything else. The 17s and 15s boys, there's talent that wants to play. Maybe there's a discussion that needs to happen about what's actually done with, because everything's crammed into that Friday.
Yeah.
Makes it difficult. We're now maxed out women's teams. There's 16 women's teams already locked in. 16, 17, 16, 15s, it's all maxed out. So the enthusiasm is there for everyone to play. We've just got to work out where it fits.
It's brought up a whole new thing about the knockout around where does it go with the women's and the kids, because it is growing so massive. Do they get their own events down the track and... a women's knockout held separately, or does it always stay together?
No, I like it together.
Maybe the kids change. We've got the Murray Carnival. Maybe if it's an extra day, I don't know. Like it's just more together's good because, like for me, if I play on the Friday,
it's a mad feeling.
My partner's got the kids, and then the Saturday, Sunday, I've got him while he's playing, and then Monday I have fun. If we make the final, he's got him again, or like Do you know what I mean? It takes a load off when we do share and we're all together. But again, yeah, it's just that conversation around how we do it if we were to get...
As someone who's run a knockout before at Redfern, the hardest day is the kids.
Yeah.
Managing all them kids' competitions, it's a very difficult day. And you think about it, takes a lot out of your resources before the knockouts even started in the men's, you know what I mean? So there's been a lot of discussion over the years, and I think it's one that will continue beyond everything around where do the kids end up going. Because a lot of those countrysides, you'd love to see more opportunities to have a focus on them and have their own platform. Because like you're saying here, George, you want to run it, it's impossible to give everyone their opportunity and their platform that you want to, you know? Like, you can't give them all the chance to be seen. And maybe if we put another event on for the kids, we could put more of a spotlight on them. So it's out there for yarns, people say.
It's a conversation that has to be had, but I do agree with what you said. It's that community feel when everyone is together, having it all run together. I do love that. So, yeah. No, we look forward to seeing you at the knockout this year, and before then, even supporting you more for the Sharks. We hope to see you more on the field there. Congratulations again for making it back in the side, and looking forward to what you bring to the knockout this year. Hopefully you don't beat our team, but hopefully you go well. And thanks for joining us on the podcast here. Thank you for everyone for tuning in, and look forward to sharing more Koori knockout yarns with you in the future.